Welcome back to Mailbag Monday. The first thing I'm opening today is, as usual, a beer. This is Night Owl La Chope Stout from Brasserie La Chope in St. Boniface, Manitoba. They simply describe it as a strong beer, but having had this one before, it is a nice roasty stout as you would expect, and a very nice head on it as well. Although that nice head did dissipate fairly quickly. Anyway, the first thing in doesn't seem to have any customs lies telling me what it is. So, what are you? Oh, looks like it's got a bit of a description on the bag. Either 10 or 75 pieces of universal quick plug-in terminals. It looks more like 10 than 75. Let's get these guys out. These are a different sort of Wago or Wago style or Wago clone wire connector. These are for connecting just two wires together. To use them, you flip up the little lever like that, put your wire in and clamp it down, and there it goes. And then you stick your other wire. Let's pretend this isn't the same wire. And you stick that in there and clamp it down. Makes a solid electrical connection, a solid mechanical connection. It can accept a very wide variety of sizes of wires. It can clamp both solid core like this or stranded wire. Very versatile. And these ones, if I remember correctly, were relatively inexpensive. This style of connector is fairly expensive to buy, at least here in North America, so I find them cheap when I can and I grab them. Of course, these are designed for full mains voltage, but that's not what I tend to use them for around here, or when I do, it's just for temporary stuff on the workbench. I don't permanently install these anywhere. I'm not 100% confident that these meet local code, but more importantly, these are probably cheap knockoffs, so I'm not going to trust them with mains in the long term. Again, just for use on the workbench. 10 or 75 pieces, universal type, quick plug-in terminals, electrical equipment connections, lever wire connector, 250 volts, 32 amps. Yeah, that's what the real Wago ones would be. Again, I am not confident that these are anything but knockoffs, so who knows what their actual rating is. Anyway, I got the 10 pieces. These are 412 style, so if you wanted to look for actual Wago, that would be the code number that you'd look for, the part number. Anyway, they also have them in larger boxes, or what is that? That looks like the 5-position one or the 3-position one. But all there is down here is a quick description of how to use them, which is what I've already demonstrated, so don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do this or this. You just clamp them in. And again, I don't know if even the official ones would be recognized by code here. I haven't looked into it at all. I don't do a lot of mains wiring in the walls. But again, I'm just going to be using them on the workbench, so that really doesn't matter. Off to an excellent start. Let's see what this next thing is. Again, nothing on the outside of the package. It is some kind of little modules. This is another sort of lithium-ion battery charger. 4.2 volts, so standard lithium-ion, and with a step-up DC boost on the output of it. Okay. So for 5 of them, they are fairly tiny little guys too. Let's zoom in here and see what we've got. So there is the V in, or it can come from a USB-C. There is the battery. There is the voltage out, and or there is the voltage out. On this side, we have an adjustment. So I'm going to guess that one of these voltage outs is just the battery voltage, and the other one is going through this little boost converter, which has an adjustable boost output, and then comes out on that side. All right. If that is what they are, those could be a very handy little thing to get. We'll give them a try at some point. Does it say anything about the amperage of them? No. What is the chip on them? The charge control chip is CSM 4056. We've seen several other battery charge modules that have a variant on 4056 as their name, so that's fairly standard, which means it has also got an adjustable charging current by probably changing that resistor there, I would guess, or maybe that one up there. Something worth looking into. So let's go look at the listing and see if it has any more information for us. 1 to 10 pieces lithium-ion, 18650, 3.7 to 4.2 volt battery charger board, DC to DC step-up boost module, TP4056. Well, it's not TP4056, but it's close enough, so we'll let it slide. 5 pieces for $3.81. That's a pretty good deal. What can we learn about it down here? 1 amp programmable linear charging current, as suspected, suitable for a 3.7 carp battery. Didn't know there were fish batteries. Fully charged with 4.2 volts. Yeah, constant current, constant voltage charging, as you would expect. Soft start to limit current. That's nice. Battery reverse protection. That's good too. Output voltage 4.2 up to 28 volt adjustable, 5 watts, presumably in the boost converter. Oh, that could be a very handy thing to have. I'm pretty sure I've got some others that do something similar, but this one is different, or at least I remember it being different when I bought the thing. Oh, I didn't even notice that it has a temperature connection on it. Okay, that's useful too, so you can put a thermistor on there. Oh, that's a very good idea. Anyway, yeah, there is everything else about it. All right, next thing in is something that came to my P.O. box from an anonymous donor. Something that did not have a gentle trip through the mail by the looks of it. That's straight up abrasion on there. It says that it is a DC15A CX with line magnetic connector thread something, charging power cord magnetic contacts. That sounds a little bit familiar. Let's see if it is in fact that. Okay. Yeah, the connector shell has been, shall we say, abused a little bit in the mail, but it is a coaxial 2-pin power plug, magnetic one, I think. Yep, definitely magnetic. I did get something similar to this a month or so back. Hang on, let me just check. Yes, I did. Looks very... Oh, that is the mating connection. Oh, nice. So now I do have a pair of these. That is excellent. I'm guessing that whoever sent me these saw me checking these ones out and saw some of the other variety of magnetic connectors available and decided to donate these to my cause. Thank you so much to my anonymous donors. So I couldn't find the exact match on eBay using the search terms that were on the package and a few other search terms. This is as close as I could get. A pair of them, just the connectors without the wire on them, for $9.38, and there is the search term I used. Looking on AliExpress, I found another assortment of magnetic connectors, including these ones, which are a much closer match. And again, there is the search term that I used for $8.63 for a pair, compared to the other prices that I found. I think that's a pretty good deal. I mean, these are expensive anyway. The magnetic connectors always are. So are the other ones that I have been using in the past, which is, this type here. I'll put this link to this AliExpress one down below. If you want to check out any of the other ones, just use the search terms and hunt around. Thanks once again to my anonymous donor. I do appreciate all the random, unexpected stuff that shows up in the mail. All right, what is next? It says toy accessories. I mean, I do play with this electronic stuff, so maybe. Lots of bubble pack. Oh, 3 little modules. They're going to be a power module, either a boost or a buck, because you can tell by the inductor and the diode. Don't know what that chip is. What do we say on the back here? So 5 to 15 volts on this side, and a positive indication and nothing else down here. Might try and translate that later. And what is those 3 connections there? I would assume that it's just a boost converter that goes between 5 and 15 volts. Oh wait, is that a potentiometer connection to set the voltage of them? That might be. Let's see if the listing sheds any light on this. So searching through my orders, I can't find anything that matches this exactly. The closest that I can find is 3 of this that I ordered, but that's definitely not it. Doesn't look anything like it, so I don't think that's what it is. Okay, that was easy. So it is a charge module. Let's choose the cheapest one I can find here, just to take a closer look at it. And this looks like the board that I've got. So it is in fact a lithium battery charging module. Input is 5 to 12 volts, not the output. Lithium battery, positive electrode goes there, negative goes there. And, oh, okay, so it can do a 2S. If I short that jumper there, then it goes up to a 2S 8.4. No balancing middle connection, but still, that might be useful. I seem to remember getting something similar to this a while ago. Maybe it was that other one? I'll have to go and dig through my collection. Anyway, what do we know about it? 4.2 or 8.4 volt output, yeah. Overcurrent protection, sure. What else? Maximum charging current up to 2 amps, adjusted by an external resistance. So again, I would have to drop that down to use the cheap unknown salvage batteries that I tend to use. What else? You can adjust it from 0.1 up to 2 amps. Okay, I'll probably have to look up that chip, I guess. Maybe I'm going to have to do a video looking at a bunch of these different charging boards just to compare and contrast them. But yeah, that's definitely the one that I got. Okay. And they are very cheap at $1.82 each. The chip on these things is a TP5100. So let's see if we can find that. You can adjust the charging current on this by changing out the sensing resistor right there. And here is their chart. So for 2 amps, it is a 0.05 ohm resistor. For 100 milliamps, it's a 1 ohm resistor. Oh, wow. That is some tiny, tiny resistors. I don't think I have any resistors that tiny, so that may be a less convenient charging chip than some of the other ones that I've got. I guess stay tuned until I get around to experimenting with these in the future. And as is tradition around here, the last thing in is the largest thing. It says it's a TV antenna, or plural, based on the way they spelled it. Although I don't think it is multiple antennae. Yep, it is just a really, really cheap little TV antenna. Oh, looks like it's got an amplifier with it as well. That's interesting. And it's got an adapter between the F connector, which is common here in North America, and it's not quite an RCA connector, but that is, I think, the one that's used in maybe Europe, definitely Asia. And so I'll park that out of the way because I don't need it. There is, like I said, this little amplifier, I think. There is a good chunk of cable. Oh, it's really skinny cable. And then there's this little adhesive-backed little panel antenna thing. Now, I am not expecting this thing to be, good, any more than adequate. Probably not much more than a couple of wires sticking out of the back of the TV, maybe an old set of bunny ears or something, but maybe this amplifier has something going on for it. I'll give it a try at some point. I've got a cheap garage sale TV that I got at a garage sale out in my garage that I use once in a while, and I've just got an antenna rigged up in the rafters made out of just wire strung out, which is good enough for 3 or 4 local channels. Maybe if I stick this to the window in the garage, I can get something else. Maybe it's not as good. I don't know, but we'll play with it in the future. Also, maybe I can use it with an SDR to pick stuff up. And again, I don't know if that'll be any better than the cheap little whip antenna that comes with the SDRs, but You never know. They always call these HD TV antennas. They're just a television antenna. It'll pick up anything on the right frequency. HD is not part of it. That's an old frustration. It's just like calling something digital ready headphones. They're just headphones. Digital ready does not mean anything in this context. But I digress. 5,000 miles HD 8K 4K 1080p indoor digital TV antennas, 25 dB HD TV antenna, DVB TV, DVB T2, cable TV antenna, UHF, VHF, DTV TV's antenna aerial. $2.50. That's why I bought it. Didn't have any shipping fees when I bought it. Yeah, I chose this specifically because of the outrageous claims and the fact that it was really, 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 really cheap. So the claims it makes, it's metal and plastic. Yeah, the connectors are metal. It's got an F-male connection, sure. SWR less than 1.5. I don't have any tools available to me anymore to test that. So sure, whatever, 75 ohm impedance, yeah, whatever. The amplifier claims to be a 25 dBi amplifier. Yeah, who knows? Working frequency all the way from 174 meg to 240 and 470 to 862. Sure, it's got a 4-meter cable on it. It's that big. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'm going to play with it. If it works, I'll use it in the garage. If it doesn't, I will laugh at it. What else do you want me to say about a really cheap, overblown antenna? Just looking up the frequencies that thing claims to cover, it doesn't cover the VHF low band in North America. It does cover the VHF high band, and it looks like it covers a chunk of the UHF as well, but not all of it. So, who knows? We'll give it a shot. Like I said, even if it doesn't work, at least it's a cheap laugh. We'll see. Anyway, there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Wide variety as always. Thanks to my anonymous donor who sent me the missing magnetic coaxial power connector. That's nice. These 2-conductor Wago style connectors, always useful. And I do have a variety of different types. I didn't have any 2-conductor ones, or not 2-conductor, but 2-position ones. So those will be a useful addition. I've got 2 different kinds of lithium-ion charging modules. I'm thinking that these ones are probably going to be a little bit easier to work with. They're based on the 4056 chip, although these ones claim to be able to do 2S, which is useful. Less so, there's no balancing in them, and their charging resistor is going to be a little bit hard to find a replacement for to get down to a reasonable level, but whatever. I do have a variety of different types of charging chips, and I am trying still to find some that do 2S, but with balancing built in. The search continues. There's probably more on order. And then there is this little TV antenna with amplifier. I mean, if the amplifier works, maybe it would actually be a good thing to add on to just the little long wire antenna I've got. Or if this antenna works, you never know. I certainly do know that it's not going to be any 5,000 miles like they claim on the listing, though. That's just utterly ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. Thanks to my anonymous donors, to the YouTube channel members, and the Patreon supporters who help keep the beer fridge full and help keep the mailbags rolling in. Questions or comments down below. As always, I will talk to you again.